What up, YouTube? It's your girl DeeDee. Welcome back to the channel. So your girl is back with another reaction video. Now this comes from Ashley Dalton's channel. I want to get into the video. Before we get into the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you share and like the video and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Soul.
Hi, how are you? It's my first time on.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
So
hold on. Let me ask you this first. Do you consent to be on a live and potentially all platforms?
Yes, I do.
All right.
So, here's my different opinion to you because I saw your video. It was the first video I saw when I opened the app, and I'll be honest, it hurt my feelings. Okay.
Oh.
And I knew that wasn't your intention, and I know that you always try to speak positivity into women, and I listened and I thought about it and I understood where you were coming from, right? So I also did some research, and the reason the statue was implemented.
Oh, okay. So this is talking about the big black statue in New York City, Times Square. I don't understand why any comments on that statue would hurt anybody's personal feelings, but let's continue.
Exhibition, so it's not gonna be there permanently.
Thank God.
It's made to represent the average woman, right? And it's actually supposed to challenge us, because sometimes we think that when we go for pictures and for statues, we're supposed to be looking glamorous and we're supposed to have everything done up to the nines. And I agree 100%, but this is not what this is trying to portray. This is trying to just portray someone running for groceries, someone walking to the mailbox. It is the average woman in motion.
But the problem with that is, if we do go with that, and if we do say, okay, that's a depiction of the average woman, why? Even if you're depicting the average woman, all women don't walk out just looking like that. Why she had her hand on her hip if that's the average woman? You mean the average black woman? So it's depicting a black woman who looks a mess, who doesn't seem to do anything with herself, with her hands on her hip. They were saying her didn't appear to seem like she have on a bra. I didn't notice that. Someone pointed that out to me. It doesn't seem like a good representation of black women. I'm a black woman, so I don't see the good in putting something up there like that. And I'm glad that she's saying it's temporary. It's not something that's going to stay there. Thank God. Let's continue.
That's why I'm saying, if this is the case, why are we so upset about it? Like,
and may I also ask you, sorry to interrupt, but may I also ask, what about the average girl who runs to the mailbox or to the grocery store who has kids, and she puts herself together, and she's no celebrity, but she enjoys being glamorous as well? What about her? That average girl, you know?
I for sure think that she needs to be represented as well, 100%, but that is not who was being represented. And that's why I'm saying we could respect both. I'm really hearing some hot takes, like she looks disgusting, she's this, she's that, and I'm like, just because she got on a t-shirt and leggings, like who has never worn a t-shirt and leggings before, right? And that's why I'm saying, I think as women, and what really hurt me was Anne said that she doesn't look feminine. Feminine is not how you look, it's your spirit.
Yeah, and her look and her spirit did not look feminine. Her vibe was just not a good one. And that's the representation that we should be okay with, that they're painting of all black women. Even if it's a average black woman, she could have looked nicer. Why didn't she have on a dress? Because that's too feminine. You put her on the most butch looking clothes possible. Some heavy blue work pants, some big black work shoes, look like she just looked like she was going to work and she was frustrated and she was hungry. And I think that representation of that woman just brought out the people who are comfortable in that light, and they felt like, oh, that's me, that's how I look every day. I don't do anything extra. I don't try to doll myself up. I don't try to look feminine. I'm just a hard manly woman working, and I don't have time for that, and this is my representation and I'm cool with it. But the majority of us are looking at this saying, no, this does not represent the average everyday Black woman. At least we don't want to be portrayed in that light. You could have at least done something a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. Let's continue.
So you could always be feminine, not because I'm not dolled up right now. I'm not wearing an ounce of makeup. You cannot come and challenge my femininity because that's who I am. So it's challenging our concepts of beauty. And there's beauty in both because you look beautiful, Ashley, and I look beautiful. Right? We're gonna be beautiful regardless as women. And I think we need to be nicer to each other. I'm running out the house to drop my sister at work and I don't look put together. And sometimes I am dressed to the nines. So,
and may I also ask you this, because at the start you said, Ash, it hurt my feelings when you opened the app and you saw the video. So I want to ask, what part of it hurt you? Like, what part of it made you feel like hurt?
So it was basically when you were saying like that she wasn't a representation of women because you were used to women looking a certain way.
Yeah,
and
I said the woman I know. That's what I said,
Right,
for sure.
right.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I'm saying when I open my eyes, I see women express themselves in so many different ways. So how could you, so is it that you don't see me?
No, I said the woman that I know. The women that I know, how they show up in the world, they show up in the world dignified. They show up in the world put together. They put pride in their appearance.
Yeah.
That's just the woman that I know.
So you don't
That's
think
not
that
a
she
specific
put pride
size,
in
but
it?
they have their hair done, they put their makeup on, they put their gloss on, they put their nice shoes on, whatever shoe that is, whatever sneaker that is, whatever outfit that is. That's the way
Right.
I was raised.
But that was the purpose of the statue. It's to challenge our perception because, like I said, we're used to seeing these statues of these momentous occasions and these well-posed statues. It's supposed to be this. It's like an unexpected how you know how you call these things where you just take a picture of someone and they're not posing. That's the purpose of it.
Why do we need that? It's a negative connotation to it. It does not do anything that embraces us or makes us better. It's a mockery. You know, Black women always talk about they're the least protected, they're the least this, nobody cares. And then when you see a big Black statue up there with a lady with an attitude with a hand on her hip, you don't realize that is not showing us in the best light. That is not something to be proud of. That just because you're fat and you like to see a big woman displayed, it doesn't mean that is something that is a great representation of us. Let's continue.
So I think it was a beautiful installation. This is a real woman. I think that to pose for something like this, you have to be incredibly brave, especially not conforming to, the beauty standards of today. So I applaud the woman who did that. And I appreciate seeing someone who looks like me because I am full figured and not all statues. And I'm not always going to have on my waist trainer and my Skims and give myself the hourglass figure. Sometimes I'm going to look like that.
But it's not only the weight, and I wanna emphasize that because I think everyone's just stuck on the weight. It's all of who she is. I'm not just saying weight. I'm not stopping there. I'm saying how she puts herself together. They could have put a purse in her hand. She could have been in a nice dress. She could have had her chin up and her back straight. She could have had a little bit of lipstick on to represent who we are in the Black diaspora. I have half of my family is from the Caribbean. My Caribbean aunties, they put themselves together. They put on a good Michael Kors bag when they left the house. Okay, they did their wash and set. They put on their nice earrings and their nice jewels. That's what I remember. On the other side of my family, they're from the South. They're dignified women. They don't leave the house without makeup, hair done, nails on, no matter what the size they are. So that's what I want to emphasize. It's not that her waistline is not a 20 inches. I'm not saying that. It's all of the things, not just her weight.
Well, I completely agree with Ashley on this one. I have to say she's absolutely right. And I think when you're raised with that, most people understand, you can't go outside looking any kind of way. That's just a part of how you were raised. So no matter what, you got to make sure that you're decent. It's not about having a pound of makeup on all the time. But like she said, just putting yourself together, whatever that means. Like making sure your hair is combed, whether it's in a bun pulled to the back, and you make sure you get your good shoes and your good stockings or your good bag, and you when you go out. And I just think if you're going to create a statue, no matter what you're trying to give a snapshot of, it could have been better. Like she said, the woman could have smiled. She could have been smiling. She could have looked happy. She didn't look happy. She looked depressed and mad and arrogant, or, with an attitude, hand on the hip. It's like, come on now, that, it didn't have to be that way. This is why I 100% believe that this was done in mockery. But people like representation. People like to see something that looks like them, so they just run with the narrative. But it was not something done to say something positive when it comes to Black women. It was just not. And I agree with Ashley wholeheartedly on what she just said. Let's continue.
Well, it's both, and that comment was also what was like, oh wow, because when you said I take pride in my 20-inch waist, and I was like, yeah,
I worked hard for this. I get up every day. I go to the gym for 2 hours. I was on the Stairmaster for an hour and 40 minutes today. I don't eat after 8 o'clock. I don't make excuses for myself. So when I say these things, it's not to, be vain or try to comfort anyone.
I get it.
No, I take pride in myself. I get up every morning and do it when I don't want to do it.
Right.
So
but
that's why I said
also agree, because I know you've said this before, that we can love ourselves both at 20 inches and at 40 inches. And I think this woman was just showing love at 40 inches, and she was showing comfort, and that's okay for us to see beauty in the unconventional way. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, but I don't want y'all to think about it's just about the weight. That's what I keep hearing. The weight, the waistline. It's not just that. I don't even think I mentioned her weight. I just said my 20-inch waist. I didn't say anything about her weight, if I'm being honest.
Well, when you introduced that, and that was like one of your opening lines in the video, it's natural for us to position it against the statue. So yes, you didn't compare it directly, but by mentioning it, that's what came to mind.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah, but I would, are you doing level up advice later?
Maybe. I'm like, I don't know if y'all want it. I was just saying that earlier. I don't know if y'all want level up advice. After the whole statue thing, I said, I don't know if y'all want it.
I love the level up advice. I would love to get some, but like I said, I know myself also. I'm gonna give you 9 out of 10 times when I leave the house, but I'm also gonna give you a 5 sometimes.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so thank you for coming up and giving your opinion, even though it didn't agree with mine. I'm encouraging that. So thank you for coming up.
Listen, I think sometimes people are in denial. Women are looking for excuses to stay where they are. I think a lot of big women who gravitated to the statue was happy to see a representation of them. And it makes them feel good about themselves, and it makes them, stay where they are. Anything that is worth putting in work for is going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Anything that you got to work hard for, it's going to be hard work, but it's going to pay off. And a lot of times people don't want to put in that work because they just don't want to do it. And a lot of times you hear women who are obese in particular, or just with any situation, they try to make excuses for where they are because they don't want to do what's necessary to get there. A lot of times they're lying about how they feel about themselves. So I think a lot of times people are delusional. They're in a delusional state of mind, and they're not really happy about who they are and when they look in the mirror. But because they're trying to put on this front about them feeling good and happy in their big skin, and a lot of times they're really not. So, once again, that whole statue, y'all know I thought that was a mockery. It was just a bunch of buffoonery, and I can't wait for them to take it down. That is not something to be proud of as Black women. If you're happy with a statue because it's plus size and it represents you, you got a lot of work to do. Shout out to Ashley once again, y'all. Y'all go over and support her channel if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts in the video. Subscribe, share, like the video, y'all. Hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.